Get ready to be blown away as we delve into the incredible life of Madonna, the music icon who made history on Copacabana Beach. With a staggering 1.6 million fans gathered to witness her final concert of the Celebration Tour, the energy and excitement were off the charts. Join us as we explore Madonna's extraordinary journey, from her groundbreaking music to her fearless reinventions. Our video is your backstage pass to the captivating biography of a true legend. Let's dive in and discover the magic of Madonna. Madonna changed the trajectory of popular music not long after Borderline became her first top 10 hit in 1984. Fusing post-disco dance with effervescent pop, the song was unexpected and fresh, a trick that soon became her signature. Over a career that lasted for decades, Madonna ushered underground sounds into the mainstream, specializing in trends percolating in dance clubs. As she arrived at the dawn of the MTV era, she seized the possibilities of music videos, creating a series of sexy, stylish clips that earned her the reputation of a provocateur while also establishing the network as the bastion for hip culture in the 1980s. Madonna recorded many of the pop anthems that defined that decade, like A Virgin, Material Girl, Live to Tell, Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart, Like a Prayer, Express Yourself, and in the process she created the archetype of a modern pop star, one whose music was inextricably tied with its visual representation, and one who was loath to trade upon past glories. As Madonna entered her second decade of stardom, she continued to take artistic risks. She delved into modern R&B for 1994's Bedtime Stories and electronica for 1998's Ray of Light. During the 2000s and 2010s, Madonna continued to be driven by that restless artistic spirit, a move helped put the entirety of her body of work into perspective, emphasizing the common threads and consistency that run throughout her music, connections that were as evident on albums such as 2019's Madame X as they were on retrospectives like Finally Enough Love, a 2022 chronicle of her dance club hits. She moved from her native Michigan to New York in 1977 with dreams of becoming a ballet dancer. She studied with choreographer Alvin Ailey and modeled. In 1979, she became part of the Patrick Hernandez Revue, a disco outfit that had the hit Born to Be Alive. She traveled to Paris with Hernandez, and it was there that she met Dan Gilroy, who would soon become her boyfriend. Upon returning to New York, the pair formed the Breakfast Club, a pop/dance group. Madonna originally played drums for the band, but she soon became the lead singer. In 1980, she left the band and formed EMI with her former boyfriend, drummer Stephen Bray. Soon, Bray and Madonna broke off from the group and began working on some dance/disco-oriented tracks. A demo tape of these worked its way to Mark Kammins, a New York-based DJ/producer. Kammins directed the tape to Sire Records, which signed the singer in 1982. Kammins produced Madonna's first single, Everybody, which became a club and dance hit at the end of 1982. Her second single, 1983's Physical Attraction, was another club hit. In June of 1983, she had her third club hit with the bubbly Holiday, which was produced by Jellybean Benitez. Madonna's self-titled debut album was released in September of 1983. Holiday became her first top 40 hit the following month. Borderline became her first top 10 hit in March of 1984, beginning a remarkable string of 17 consecutive top 10 hits. While Lucky Star was climbing to number 4, she began working on her first starring role in a feature film, Susan Seidelman's Desperately Seeking Susan. Madonna's second album, the Nile Rodgers-produced Like a Virgin, was released at the end of 1984. The title track hit number 1 in December, staying at the top of the charts for 6 weeks. It was the start of a whirlwind year for the singer. During 1985, Madonna became an international celebrity, selling millions of records on the strength of her stylish, sexy videos and forceful personality. After Material Girl became a number 2 hit in March, Madonna began her first tour, supported by the Beastie Boys. Crazy for You became her second number 1 single in May. Desperately Seeking Susan was released in July, becoming a box office hit. It also prompted a planned video release of A Certain Sacrifice, a low-budget erotic drama she filmed in 1979. A Certain Sacrifice wasn't the only embarrassing skeleton in the closet dragged into the light during the summer of 1985. Both Playboy and Penthouse published nude photos of Madonna that she'd posed for in 1977. Nevertheless, her popularity continued unabated, with thousands of teenage girls adopting her sexy appearance, being dubbed Madonna wannabes. In August, she married actor Sean Penn. Madonna began collaborating with Patrick Leonard at the beginning of 1986. Leonard would co-write most of her biggest hits in the 80s, including Live to Tell, which hit number 1 in June of 1986. A more ambitious and accomplished record than her 2 previous albums, True Blue was released the following month. To both more massive commercial success, it was a number 1 in both the US and the UK, selling over 5 million copies in America alone, and critical acclaim. Papa Don't Preach became her 4th number 1 hit in the US. While her musical career was thriving, her film career took a savage hit with the November release of Shanghai Surprise. Starring Madonna and Penn, the comedy received terrible reviews, which translated into disastrous box office returns. At the beginning of 1987, she had her fifth #1 single with Open Your Heart, the third #1 from True Blue alone. The title cut from the soundtrack of her third feature film, Who's That Girl?, was another chart-topping hit, although the film itself was another box office bomb. The year 1988 was relatively quiet for Madonna as she spent the first half of the year acting in David Mamet's Speed the Plow on Broadway. In the meantime, she released the remix album You Can Dance. After withdrawing the divorce papers she filed at the beginning of 1988, she divorced Penn at the beginning of 1989. Like a Prayer, released in the spring of 1989, was her most ambitious and far-reaching album, incorporating elements of pop, rock, and dance. It was another #1 hit and launched the #1 title track as well as Express Yourself, Cherish, and Keep It Together, 3 more top 10 hits. In April 1990, she began her massive Blonde Ambition tour, which ran throughout the entire year. Vogue became a #1 hit in May, setting the stage for her co-starring role in Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. It was her most successful film appearance since Desperately Seeking Susan. Madonna released a greatest hits album, The Immaculate Collection, at the end of the year. It featured 2 new songs, including the #1 single, Justify My Love, which sparked another controversy with its sexy video. The second new song, Rescue Me, became the highest debuting single by a female artist in US chart history, entering the charts at number 15. Truth or Dare, a documentary of the Blonde Ambition tour, was released to positive reviews and strong ticket sales in the spring of 1991. Madonna returned to the charts in the summer of 1992 with the #1, This Used to Be My Playground, a single featured in the film A League of Their Own, which featured the singer in a small part. Later that year, Madonna released Sex, an expensive, steel-bound softcore pornographic book that featured hundreds of erotic photographs of herself, several models, and other celebrities, including Isabella Rossellini, Big Daddy Kane, Naomi Campbell, and Vanilla Ice, as well as selected prose. Sex received scathing reviews and enormous negative publicity, but that didn't stop the accompanying album, Erotica, from selling over 2 million copies. Bedtime Stories, released 2 years later, was a more subdued affair than Erotica. Initially, it didn't chart as impressively, prompting some critics to label her a has-been, yet the album spawned her biggest hit, Take a Bow, which spent 7 weeks at #1. It also featured the Bjork-penned Bedtime Stories, which became her first single not to make the top 40. Its follow-up, Human Nature, also failed to crack the top 40. Nevertheless, Bedtime Stories marked her 7th album to go multi-platinum. Beginning in 1995, Madonna began one of her most subtle image makeovers as she lobbied for the title role in the film adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Evita. Backing away from the overt sexuality of Erotica and Bedtime Stories, Madonna recast herself as an upscale sophisticate, and the compilation Something to Remember fit into the plan nicely. Released in the fall of 1995, around the same time she won the coveted role of Evita Peron, the album was comprised entirely of ballads, designed to appeal to the mature audience that would also be the target of Evita. As the filming was completed, Madonna announced she was pregnant and her daughter, Lourdes, was born late in 1996, just as Evita was scheduled for release. The movie was greeted with generally positive reviews and Madonna began a campaign for an Oscar nomination that resulted in her winning the Golden Globe for Best Actress, Musical or Comedy, but not the coveted Academy Award nomination. The soundtrack for Evita, however, was a modest hit, with a dance remix of Don't Cry for Me Argentina and the newly written You Must Love Me, both becoming hits. Before we go any further, let me just say that you are at the proper place if you enjoy documentaries and biographies. As for your subscription, it is up to how satisfied you are with our content. Your like for the video contributes to disseminating it to a larger number of people. I'm grateful. In 1997, she worked with producer William Orbit on her first album of new material since 1994's Bedtime Stories. The resulting release, Ray of Light, was heavily influenced by electronica, techno, and trip-hop, thereby updating her classic dance-pop sound for the late 90s. Ray of Light received uniformly excellent reviews upon its March 1998 release and debuted at number 2 on the charts. Within a month, the record was shaping up to be her biggest album since Like a Prayer. 2 years later she returned with Music, which reunited her with Orbit and also featured production work from Mark Spike Stent and Mirwais, a French electropop producer/musician in the vein of Daft Punk and Air. The year 2000 also saw the birth of Madonna's second child, Rocco, whom she had with filmmaker Guy Ritchie. The two married at the very end of the year. With Ritchie as director and Madonna as star, the pair released a remake of the film Swept Away in 2002. The movie didn't fare well with critics or at the box office. Her sober 2003 album, American Life, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts, but it didn't generate any hit singles in America, but it did produce 2 hit singles in the UK, Nothing Fails and Love Profusion. That same year also saw the release of Madonna's successful children's book, The English Roses, which was followed by several more novels in future years. Confessions on a Dance Floor marked her return to music, specifically to the dance-oriented material that had made her a star. Released in late 2005, the album topped the Billboard 200 chart and was accompanied by a worldwide tour in 2006, the same year that I'm Going to Tell You a Secret, a CD-DVD made during her reinvention tour, came out. In 2007, Madonna released another CD-DVD set, The Confessions Tour, this time chronicling her tour of the same name. She inched closer to the completion of her Warner Brothers contract with 2008's Hard Candy, featuring collaborations with the Neptunes and Timbaland. As poorly received as it was, the Bold album boasted a top 5 hit in 4 minutes, and it was supported with the Sticky and Sweet Tour, which concluded in September 2009, a month prior to her filing for divorce from Richie, and produced yet another CD-DVD package, released in 2010. It was her final Warner Brothers release and set the stage for her long-term recording deal with Live Nation. Madonna began work on her 12th album midway through 2011, with the goal of releasing it early in 2012. The subsequent full-length, MDNA, featured production from French electronic musician and DJ Martin Solveig, as well as longtime collaborator Orbit. The album's title, an abbreviation of Madonna's name, appeared on the heels of her performance at the 2012 Super Bowl. Preceded by the top 10 single, Give Me All Your Lovin', featuring Nicki Minaj and MIA, MDNA debuted at number 1 across the world, including the US and UK. Her MDNA tour took up the rest of the year, as she performed in Europe, the Middle East, North America, and South America. She filmed a concert special, and also released the live album MDNA World Tour in September 2013. At the beginning of 2014, Madonna announced that she was starting work on her 13th studio album. Taking to social media to capture the process, she revealed that recording sessions with the likes of Avicii, Diplo, and Kanye West had taken place. Excerpts from the sessions leaked toward the end of 2014, forcing Madonna to release a digital teaser EP by the end of the year. The full release of Rebel Heart came in March 2015. The album peaked at number 2 in the US and UK. She toured from the fall of 2015 to the spring of 2016, playing more than 75 dates in North America, Europe, and Asia. In April 2019, Madonna began to issue singles leading up to the June release of her 14th album, Madame X, starting with Medellin, a collaboration with Colombian reggaeton singer Maluma. The album featured co-production by Mirwais, Mike Dean, Diplo, and Jason Evigan, as well as collaborations with guest artists including Brazilian singer Anitta and rappers Sway Lee and Quavo. Upon its June 14, 2019 release, Madame X debuted at number 1 in the US and number 2 in the UK, generating 4 number 1 Billboard Dance Club hits, Medellin, Crave, I Rise, and I Don't Search I Find. Madonna's remarkable 4-decade run at the top of the dance club charts was chronicled on Finally Enough Love, 50 Number Ones, a 2022 compilation that featured nearly all of her chart-topping dance singles. Finally Enough Love was the first release in a prospective reissue program by Warner, launched in 2022 to celebrate her 40th anniversary as a recording artist. This catalog series coincided with Madonna developing a biopic chronicling her own career, a film she planned to direct herself. In June 2023, she joined The Weeknd and Playboi Carti for the song Popular as part of the soundtrack to the Netflix drama The Idol. A month later, she embarked on the Celebration Tour, her first greatest hits-themed live show.